this has been my first week formally back in my business with client meetings, client work. I went kind of back informally last week where I was working on my business rather than in my business. And I've noticed that I'm still being, and I will say, bombarded with emails. We had the Black Friday sales, then we seem to go very quickly into Christmas sales, and I'm still getting emails about New Year sales. Anything that is coming to me that is basically saying a sale, a promotion, your last chance to get, I'm hitting delete. Because I realized I was actually being overwhelmed by these emails and I just couldn't make decisions. And it's like, did I need it? Is it just a fear of missing out, FOMO? And it was just like, you know what? I don't need it. One of my tips for dealing with overwhelm, because last week and this week, I have felt about a bit of overwhelm, is really knowing your business plan for this year. And I'm not a great planner. You may have realized this by some of my Facebook lives. I'm not a great planner at times. But this time I have sat down, worked out my business goals for the year, worked out some planning behind that, broken it down into what I'm going to be doing for blog posts, Facebook Live. So I've broken down the content, and it's all now based on my top 3 goals for the year. And I'm finding that that is really helping with overwhelm for me, because I'm looking at things that I was going to do. An example, I was going to run my basic WordPress maintenance course probably in February or March. And I've decided that actually I want to build up my email list before I do that. My email list, increasing that means that I'll have more people to send out about the course when I do it. So the course has gone back to May. And that's what I mean by the overwhelm is less, because I'm thinking, is this a priority for me now? Is it a priority for me this quarter or this month? And if not, then let me schedule it for another time. So whereas I had a never-ending to-do list, and that's actually what I call it, a never-ending to-do list, because as things drop off the top, you add them more things in down the bottom, and it's just like never-ending. So prioritize my to-do list. So it's not a to-do list, just a to-do list. It's a prioritized to-do list. And I now know that, yes, okay, this is important, bump it up. So, and this also means that when I get an email through and it's like, oh, that could be useful. It's like, okay, do I need to look at that now? Can I look at that in a few weeks' time? There are some accessibility plugins that I want to test. I don't want that in my personal time. So I'm setting boundaries as well with the overwhelm. So I don't want that in my personal time. So when can I schedule that as a quiet time when I'm not doing anything else, and I can block that time in for testing accessibility plugins? So set boundaries and be okay with your boundaries. So for example, I don't do client meetings or client work on a Monday. On a Monday, it's all working on my business and content creation, all based on my business plan. So that's locked down a lot of overwhelm for me. And people can still contact me Tuesday to Thursday, usually. It's rare that I have meetings scheduled on a Friday, just because it's the end of the week and there's normally, if you're playing catch up or people are busy. That's actually the same reason for not usually having meetings on a Monday, is because everybody, oh, it's the first day back. Oh, I've got all this to do. And it's like, okay, so let people go on and do it. Now, book client meetings between Tuesday and Thursday. So having a basic plan in place is really helping me. It's helping me stick to, this is what I do on these days of the week. It's helping me by, is this a priority? Does this fit in with my goals for this quarter? And if it doesn't, it simply gets put back. And some things may completely drop off my list because actually I thought they were important. I thought I needed to do them. And you know what? I don't. So find ways, if you're feeling overwhelmed, find ways to deal with it. For me, journaling, I should have mentioned that. First thing in the morning, I write. It can be complete gibberish. It can be a story that I'm working on in my personal life. And I do mean story as in a novel. I don't mean story as in the stories we tell ourselves, although it's probably a bit of that as well. Going out for a walk. The other day, things were getting to me. I just went out into, we're lucky we've got a property here. But I just went out and walked around in nature and breathed. Have a business plan and see what things on your to-do list are priorities in regards to your business plan. If they're not a priority, reschedule them. So actually have dates against your to-do list. The other thing I should mention is things may take longer than you think they do. So allow extra time. I found on my calendar, I'm one of these people that thinks, I can do this, I can do this. Of course I can do this, I've got this, I can do this. So I used to have a calendar that was almost wall to wall blocked out with things. Whether it's client work, working on my business, pro bono work, whatever it was, there was always stuff in there. And I've realized that that was making me feel overwhelmed because I would look at it and there were no gaps. So I'm also allowing myself more time on client work, on content work, whatever I'm working on, allow extra time for it. I'm not trying to fit so many things into one day. And yes, if I've got time over, I can like celebrate that I've done something, because I'm not good at that. Celebrate that I've done something, or fit something else in, or just go and have a cup of tea, or wander around the garden with my camera. We don't have to be on the go all the time. And my word of the year, which I don't know if I've mentioned yet, is space. It's holding space for my clients, for their work. It's holding space for me. It's holding space for my family, for my husband, for hobbies. Here's a word I don't use very often. It's holding space. It's creating space. It's watch this space to see what happens. So my word for this year is space. So things like journaling, taking a break, making sure you have time in your calendar. Allow yourself time and space to do things. So I've got the TARDIS going through my head at the moment. Prioritize your to-do list. Does it fit in with your business plan for the year, for the quarter, for this month? Can it be put back? Can it be rescheduled? Does it need to be done at all? Give yourself time and space so that you do not feel overwhelmed. We're not even into the third week yet, the end of the third week yet in January. So let's pace ourselves so that we get this year right. This is Karen, your WordPress Fairy Godmother from KISS WP Websites. Keep it simple, sweetheart. WordPress websites. Until next time, keep shining.